Awesome, everybody. It is Libby again with Fearlessness. What is fearlessness? It's the underlying grit that empowers us to forge ahead. Even when hope seems distant, it's the courage to walk through those fires of hell, knowing that we're not going to just come out better on the other side, but we're going to come out stronger. Stay tuned and learn how to get fearlessness. I'm Libby DeLucien, and I'm your host today. And today we have a very special guest, Kellina. Kellina, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story and your journey?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. Hello, everyone. My name is Kellina Powell. I am located in Canada, Toronto. I am an author, international speaker, and obviously an entrepreneur, own 2 businesses. And yeah, little do people know, I am actually a hard of hearing person. I actually became deaf at the age of 4, so that's a whole different story. And yeah, so that's pretty much who I am. Thank you.
Awesome. I want to hear like a little bit more. You said you have 2 businesses, you wrote a book. Like,
Yeah.
what are the businesses?
So the first business, sorry, we're going to talk about my book, you guys. So right now I have 3 books. So my first book is my personal book. It's a poetry book about me being deaf daily basic. It's called Every Day I Am Just Deaf. You can find it on Amazon. And my second book is, my last 2 books are actually a collaborative book. The second one is Change Makers, and the third one is Wisdom of Success by Deaf and Hard of Hearing Community. So everybody gets together and wrote about their stories. And now jumping into my business, my business is called Kellina Empowerment. So I have 2 different split of the business names. So I am actually a coach. I am a coach for young adults with disabilities. I specialize in depression, anxiety, and self-esteem and confidence. And the second business I have, which is under Kellina Empowerment Inc., it's called a virtual assistant agency. So I actually help small business owners to have access to virtual assistants to help them succeed in their business with affordable budget. And that's what I do.
Oh, and before we got started, I asked Kellina, I'm like, and how old are you? Because you look like you could be my child. She's a very young entrepreneur, but she has 3 books and 2 businesses. So like, what better person to have on the Fearlessness podcast? And you did all this at a young age, but also with a disability.
Yes.
Tell me more about the disability side of, like, do you think that it helped motivate you to do the things you're doing? Obviously, it was probably harder. But do you think it was that motivating factor that you needed because business is hard. It's hard every day. And so I want to hear how has a disability helped or impacted your business? Because a lot of entrepreneurs, some of us have some disabilities, whether we have dyslexia, a lot of us, ADD, ADHD. And I love the fact that you did not use it as an excuse at all. Like, you're like, I'm going to own this space.
Thank you. It was not easy. Because coming from a deaf person who was not born and raised deaf, and that was the struggle I faced a lot, because when I was growing up, I was bullied a lot of times. I would push back a lot of time. People didn't believe in my dream. People did not motivate me at all. They just said, "Oh, you have a disability. You can't become a doctor." And that was the biggest thing that people kept telling me. And I knew I wanted to change that. And a lot of the people knew I was in high school. I looked up a coach or a therapist or a counselor who was actually deaf. I couldn't find anybody. And right there I knew, and I said, why do I not become the first deaf person who actually can make an impact in the disability community, because there's not a lot of role models out there. And that's why I just choose to go into the entrepreneur space, is because I had enough of being pushed back. I had enough of people disrespecting me because I am deaf. I had enough of a lot of things. And my disability, yes, it motivates me even 10 times better to be successful, but also to motivate me to impact the younger generation, impact other people, to understand that your life don't stop when you become disabled. Your life change for the better. It motivates you. And so that's why I wrote my personal book, Every Day I'm Just That, but to really let people know what I went through and let people know that there's a voice out there for them. And so that's how my business helped me succeed and how my display helped me.
I love that. And I love that, like, you're coaching and mentoring and you're helping other businesses find virtual assistance or virtual help and support. I want to hear about the book writing process. So many of us want to write a book. I'm in the middle of writing a book, but you have 3 books. For you, what was that turning point to write a book? And what are some of the steps that you can give to our listeners that will help get them started, right? Because it's a big project, but what are some things we can do to help get started?
It is tough. I'm not like anybody who's listening, so it was super hard. What happened was I actually had a mentor during COVID, and I just wanted to have a mentor who can guide me into what it is that you need to be an entrepreneur. I don't know. And so she said, Kellina, why don't you write a book? I thought, oh hell no. I had a speech delay when I was younger. A lot of people don't know, and I was horrible and. Like, I was so bad at English class, you guys. I cannot write an essay, to be honest with everyone that's listening. I couldn't.
Yep.
And so...
Me too.
I couldn't. And I was like, there's no way someone just said to me, I can write a book. So I said to myself, maybe I can make it a poetry book because I love poems. And during COVID, for 3 months, I had COVID twice. I was stuck in my room for a good 2 months. And I was super bored, and I wrote my book. I grabbed my pen and paper, and I just wrote it down. I didn't have any high expectation about my book. And I reached out to an editor. I reached out to a graphic designer through Fiverr. That's what it's called, right?
Fiverr.
Yeah, I reached out to people out there. I was on a budget. I always tell people, if you have a budget, stick to your budget. A book should not cost you more than $100,000. No. It should not cost you that. It should not. And I feel like even when I came to the author space...
I want everyone to hear, she said a book should not cost you more than $100,000.
Exactly. No.
I'm writing a book, and I know it costs a decent amount of money if you want help doing it.
Exactly. They're just different. And that's why I tell people, there's a difference you doing it versus marketing or having someone push your book out there. There's a difference. And a lot of people think, really, Kellina? And I said, yes. I personally, my graphic designer on Fiverr charged me $60 US. That's a perfect. And my book looked like someone did it for $1 million, $1,000. But no, I did not spend a lot of money. I always tell people, stick to your budget. I don't care what other people think or say about your book. At the end of the day, it's your book and how you want your book to represent you in the future. Because you have to remember, when you write a book, you're leaving a legacy back, which is going to be your name. So think of it that way. Think of that way, right? And second thing is, how did I become best-selling author twice? It's because I kept marketing it in Facebook groups. I kept going to networking events. I kept using organic marketing, because if you use organic marketing, the more success you are versus having an ad on Facebook to push it for you. And again, an ad costs a lot of money sometimes, especially what country you're coming from. And that's when I realized I didn't know that. It was different when it comes to South America and then Europe, Australia, you name it, on that side. And that's why my book became success, because a lot of people kept talking about it. And also too, I also tell people, make sure it's something that you want to do. Don't just write the book because you just want to do it. Write the book because you have passion for it.
Somebody told me once at I think I was somewhere at a seminar or conference, and the guy said, don't write a book to just write a book. Right?
Exactly.
It's expensive and it's hard and it takes a lot of time. I mean, for my book, we're on chapter 11 already, and I'm like, I'm so tired, and we haven't even gotten into the graphics or proofreading or the publishing side. And it's a lot of work. It's a big, big effort. But that being said, what do you think the book helped do for your like, for you?
The book helped me to reflect about my personal life. It made me realize how far I came in life. And I realized that I was scared to write my book. I was terrified because I didn't know if I should write this part of my life or should I write this part of my life. I think we all been through that, not knowing what to write on paper and what should we tell people about our personal life. And honestly, I tell people just write it. Just write it. Don't overthink what you're writing, because that's why you should hire an editor to help you, give you more strategy. Don't overthink it. Just write it. Give it to an editor. Let them give you a hint, example.
I don't know about you, but I don't know very many people that are hopeful about the world of work. And I'd like to change that. My name's Marcus Mossberger, and I started the Hope at Work podcast, where you'll find two things. Number one, really interesting guests, and number two, innovative ideas about the future of work. Check it out.
Because believe me or not, it's really helpful if someone can read your story outside the box, because that will actually help you and your editor too. And you just never know. You just never know. I always tell people, lay it out on the table, because if you don't lay it out on the table, you're not going to be successful in your book.
No. It is exhausting to do it. It's a lot of work, but what do you think? But it's a lot of work, but like you had just said, it was a great time to reflect. So as I'm going through the writing process, we've been writing since April.
It's a good time.
Yeah. And we're only halfway done, apparently. But what I've found is the self-reflection coming out through that book, and you're like looking at where you came from and what you did. And like, it's pretty intimidating, because I was kind of like, who wants to read anything that I've done? Like, who cares? And I had to get over that, because, that's kind of coming from a place of selfishness, is that I've learned lessons, I've done things. And if we don't share them, those lessons live and die with me. Versus other business owners can take these lessons, my children, family. So it's an intimidating process. I do have to say that. But a very self-reflective process at the same time. So the book, it helped you personally, but what did you think it did for your personal career?
It helped me to get my name out there more, 100%. I didn't realize how valuable it is to have a book. And books actually really help you push your stuff out there, because the person may not know who you are, but they can actually understand who you are inside your book, and actually help other people to say, wow, she been through this without me even getting to know her. And that helped my business a lot, because a lot of people kept referring people to my book. It leads me to a lot of opportunities I didn't even know was going to come in my way. And I had no idea that a school was reading the book, a principal was reading my books. And they reached out to me, said, Kellina, we had one of our students came with your books. And I'm like, wait, what? So you did be surprised how your book can actually help you expose a lot more than you think.
I love that. And I think it helps package everything up you have to say. Like you said, they're great things to make connections, to give away, to share in Facebook groups, to share everywhere, to really up level and legitimize you as an expert or a specialist or whatever we want to call ourselves in the niche industry that we pick to be in. So I love that. I want to kind of switch the topic here, and I'm just dying to ask, how did you get into the VA business?
So everybody asked me that, but like, how did you? I don't even know, you guys. It just happened. So again, my virtual assistant approached me through Instagram. I was like, what is a virtual assistant? Like, I had no idea, you guys. Like, if you were to tell me back then I was going to have a virtual assistant business, I'd be looking at you dumb in the face. I'd be like, no, I would not. So my virtual assistant and I were working for 2 years. And a lot of people kept asking me, Kellina, how did your business go so quick within 3 years? And I said, oh, my virtual assistant helped me and we worked together. And they're like, can you refer her to me, please? I'm like, of course, here you go. And I referred 5 people to my assistant. And my assistant actually came up with an idea, why don't we work together? because I'm so good at helping people marketing it and giving my assistant some tips and help. And so I thought to myself, that would be such a great business to have on the side with my assistant and the amount of people that's asking me questions for help. And I thought, maybe I can actually help too. And
Yeah.
so her and I said, let's do this together. And it was super success ever since. We started it in May. So about, a little before my birthday. And she asked me about it. And I said, sure. So about May-ish. That's when I started
Awesome.
it. I haven't fully launched it yet. But so far, doing good. I've been using word of mouth for now before I launch it because I have so many other projects coming out. I don't want to overwhelm myself. But anyway, so that's how I actually got into it. My assistant actually suggested that we do it together.
I love that. Are you going to specialize in particular types of assistants, like for certain industries or niches?
I wanted to focus basically on small business owners because a lot of small business owners are really struggling to get themselves out there. I'm mainly focusing on general lead, social media, like administrative stuff, people who are marketing, organic marketing. I'm going to help them with that just to get themselves out there. So that's what my main focus is.
Awesome. I love that. And are your assistants primarily based like South America, Philippines?
She's based in, I cannot pronounce the name. Oh my God. It's by the Philippines.
Okay.
I don't
So
know
it's
how to pronounce
overseas.
it. Yeah.
So it's overseas, like Philippines area. Yeah.
Yeah, like those. Yeah. But she's not from the Philippines. Yeah.
Some people have, we call it like near shore, which is more South American. And then there's offshore, which is like across the water. We have a ton of remote employees for one of my businesses, and I love the remote space.
Right. Yeah.
It's great. It's a different world, and it's funny because we have to treat our office is Slack. It's fun and it's different. But I love that. I was just interested. I'm like, that was random. How did you get into that space?
Yeah. Yes.
So let's switch real fast to the part of fearlessness that I would really like to dive into. And that's more of like talking about struggle and lessons and pain, because as a business owner, we're always learning and we're always failing, but we're not losing. It's a lesson, right? We're always learning, not failing. I'm sorry. We're always learning. Right. I would like for you to share, like, as a young business owner, what were some of the most memorable moments for you that were like the hardest, and then you're the most proud of? Like, I want to hear too. What was one of the hardest and what was the most rewarding?
The hardest was to decline a client. That was my hardest. I had a client came up to me and she wanted us to work together on her mental health, but I had to, kind of decline her. And I told her, unfortunately, you need more than a coach. You need a therapist. And a lot of time I had to reject them. And so I was nervous because I was like, no, I'm going to leave the client. And I really wanted to help her, but I had to take a step back as a business owner, that, you know what, it's going to be more not draining for the business, but also it's not the smart move to do. As a business
you have to
owner,
protect yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to protect yourself too.
Exactly. And that was something I had to learn the hardest, but think for myself mentally. Am I going to be prepared to do this mentally? Does the client truly need a therapist? So that was my hardest challenge when I started my business, was to say no to some people.
Yes. As an entrepreneur, we want to fix everyone and everything.
Yes, that's true.
So what's the moment you're most proud of?
The most I'm proud of making a lot of impact in the youth who are actually looking after me, who are looking toward me. I had a lot of youth, because I actually do a lot of speaking in schools, and I had a lot of youth read my books, and I'm most proud of seeing their smile to say, wow, Kellina went through something super similar. Finally, we find someone to look up to. So that is what I'm most proud of.
Awesome. I love that. I love your story. It's great. How old were you when you started this entrepreneur journey? Because she's not 21. Very old. You're 21. Not very old now. 21.
Oh, 21. Yeah.
21.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, awesome. So you have a few years behind you. It's always inspiring to hear from young entrepreneurs. I have a 20-year-old, and he is an entrepreneur. He works for himself. He does marketing.
Okay, nice.
Social media, organic marketing. Maybe I should connect you guys.
Yeah, I love that.
And so, it's always inspiring to hear from young entrepreneurs. And I love it because, you guys are living in a different world. I'm still here, but I'm jealous because of, you guys are living in a world with like endless possibilities right now. And just the amount of people we can reach, the amount of people we can impact with social media is so powerful. And that's why I love young entrepreneurs, because they get it and they understand the impact of social media, where some of us older people are a little resistant to social media or even just sharing so openly our story.
Right.
On social media. I find that younger entrepreneurs are more willing to do that, and they create that following, where some of us older people don't understand that value or that impact of sharing our story through social media, how it can improve not just our business, but we're doing a disservice to the world if we're not sharing our story, because it could impact someone. So before we wrap up, Kellina, what is the one piece of advice you would give to the younger version of yourself first starting out in business?
Don't allow your disability to define who you are, and don't allow your disability to define your success.
I love that. Absolutely love that. So it was so great having you. We know what you're doing, but before we wrap up, is there anything like you want our listeners to kind of keep an eye out for? Something that are you dropping another book? If you want to kind of share that real fast.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna finally launch my virtual assistant agency in the coming months. So if you are someone who is on a strict budget to find a VA, please don't be afraid to reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook underneath Kellina Powell. So I'm there. But yeah, if you are someone who's looking and who don't know how to start one, who have a lot of questions, I'm more than happy to be here to support you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Kellina. And we'll make sure to put all of her information in our show notes so any of our listeners can easily find you on social media. And I want to thank you for being a guest today on the Fearlessness Podcast. And for our listeners, if you enjoyed this podcast, please check out thefearlessness.com or libbyd.com to find other episodes. And I also want to thank our sponsor, WootRecruit. And guys, that's a wrap into the heart of fearlessness. Remember, every step we take is a move towards our own strengths and courage. Keep walking through those fires of hell, because on the other side lies a version of yourself that's unstoppable. I'm Libby, reminding you to embrace your fearlessness. Until next time, stay brave, stay bold, and keep pushing forward.